Welcome to a new series, guys, where I'll be going through my lifts and I'll be recording the whole session so you can kind of see how I approach every single lift, the cues and tips I like to incorporate when I do lift, and hopefully you learn something from that and you can apply it to your training. We just finished a session, so I'm now having my post-workout meal. I have 250 grams of chicken breast, or chicken thighs, sorry, white rice, about 200 grams, and then I have my carbs on the side, my little treat after the session. I'm gonna be watching some anime and I have a few check-ins later tonight. But yeah, here's the session. All right, so we've got upper B today. I'm gonna be training chest, back, and shoulders. But yeah, we just do pullovers just to warm up the back. Upper B is mainly focusing on back, so there's a bit more variation. So first movement is gonna be a J press on the Smith machine. We have one set going to close to failure. So one thing that's incredibly important when you lift is setup. It's probably, I'd say, a good 70% of the actual lift. If your setup isn't good, then you'll be fighting the actual movement rather than using all that energy for failure or pushing towards failure. I have the bench on a slight incline, probably 1 or 2 notches above. And then with the bar, I want to make sure this lines up to, that's our end position. So we're just going to go just above or just below the upper chest. So as you can see, we're not aligned properly. We just shuffle a bit more forward. Almost there. Just a bit more. Cool. Main thing when you're doing a J press, one, we create as much elbow flexion as possible. So we bend that elbow as much as possible. And 2, close grip. The wider we get, the more chest we get, all right? Another cue is making sure that elbow doesn't pass our torso too much. So we close that elbow, keep them high. A bit low is fine, but you don't want to go too much, otherwise you're creating a lot of stretch within the chest. So we're finishing in this position and we just drive back up. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 more warm-ups. Just make sure the elbows are ready, and then we're gonna go into our 1 working set. One thing you want to do when you warm up is not to exhaust yourself too much. Now it depends on the level that you're training at, but if you're a bit more immediate to advanced, I'd say you probably only need like 1, maybe 2 warm-up sets, just because you've done the movement enough times that you know where everything's going. I use warm-up more of a tool to kind of get the rhythm, get the placement right, a few reps to get the blood flow in, but I don't spend too long on the warm-ups, otherwise my working set will be taxed too much, basically. So 1 or 2 is fine, and the way I like to do it is a pyramid set or pyramid down set. So I would do very lightweight, I'll go for about 12 reps, and then slightly heavier, I'll go about 8 to 5, and then I'm ready to go into my warm-up set. Now, obviously for more bigger lifts, such as like squats and RDLs, you kind of do need an extra warm-up set just to make sure, because there's multiple muscles involved in that movement, so you want to make sure everything is hit properly. But more isolated movements where just single joints, I'd say like 1 or 2 is more than enough. The last warm-up, I'm about to get 3 or 5 reps in, and then we'll go for a 2-minute break and go straight into our working set. All right, we're good. All right, so we have 70 kilos on the J press. We're gonna aim for, let's see. So this is why it's important to track your lifts, just to see how many reps you got last session and progress it from there. Because if you're trying to guess your reps and guess your weight, it'll be hard to kind of push forward every single session because there's just too many numbers. Yeah, last week I got 25, 50, 60. I got 60 for 8. So we're gonna push to 70 for about 6, maybe 5 reps. And we're only gonna do 1 set for that, and then we're done. Let's get some music in and start this. But yeah, what music do you guys listen to in the gym? Me personally, I like to have people shout in my ear. So I've got like a rock playlist that just pushes me. It's got a bit of anime music as well, just for a bit of motivation. Got Bring Me the Horizon, and I'm playing Wonderwall. I've got 6 reps, decent form. I was losing a bit of grip because of my wrist. The wrists are small. So next time I do this, I'm probably gonna need some wrist straps or wrist wraps to support that part. All right, so next we got lateral raise incline. Cable lateral raise. I've been experimenting a lot the last couple of weeks, just because I like dumbbells, but I feel like it gets quite taxing. And me personally, it's just a personal preference, but I like pushing more weight without the form breaking down too much. And I feel like lateral raise is one of those ones where it's such a big jump to go from, I don't know, 10 kilos to 12 kilos. So I like more cables because you have a bit more management with the actual weight. You can increase it just by a bit, but I've been messing around with a few options to look at stabilization while I do this. And again, we know that the more stabilized the movement is, the better it is for hypertrophy. I used to do it double cable system, but I found that one, you're not always going to get both cables. So I'm looking at one cable system with a bench supported. And I found this option, which is quite good. So the way we're going to set up, we're going to be sitting on the bench, cable goes behind our back, we raise up, and we use the bench to stabilize, to push towards, again, those last few reps, that failure point, to drive more growth. But yeah, let's just see what the setup is. Normally I do this with cuffs, but because I left my cuffs at home stupidly, I'm gonna use them with straps. Now, quite easy to do it with straps. You just literally that hook through, under, cable system, and then now you've got like a makeshift cuff. So we're gonna go behind the back, grab through from here, stabilize, come back up. When you do lateral raise cables or any kind of lateral raise, your palm placement is very important, or your palm position is quite important. So when you turn your palm downwards, you get a bit more side delt and a bit more rear delt. But if you rotate upwards during the cable lateral raise, you're incorporating a bit more front delt, which don't really need right now. Cuffs hook into the clip, you hold that strap, you come up, and then you rotate downwards. And the way I like to perform these, like any lateral raise, I like to go slightly in front, but not too much. One thing I want to avoid when I do any lateral raise variation is going way too far out to the side. Then I'm feeling that all within the joint and it's crunching a bit. But having it in the scapular plane, which is basically slightly in front, it's quite nice. Having it in the scapular front, which is slightly in front, about 45 degrees, you get a bit more of a fluid motion. So the way we're gonna do this is, you're gonna put your bench in front, cable behind, slide it out to the side, and then the way you line up the cable, I always like to go for not all the way to the bottom, but just slightly above the knee. That way I got tension at the bottom of the movement, and then I can raise it back up. So I'll do one more warm up, and then get started. That was pretty heavy. I like it, it's good. Yep, that's done. But yeah, this is why I like cable systems slightly more than dumbbells and certain movements, because you can really grind out those last few reps and really push towards failure. Find with dumbbells, because the drop off as you get higher, that weight increases because the way gravity works. The more gravity is added to the weight, and it's hard to calculate where failure is at that point. But having the cable slightly aligned with your wrist, you have that constant tension, or not even that constant tension, but you have that tension even at the bottom, so that you're not really losing that much resistance during the movement. But yeah, when you're resting, again, 2 minutes, it should be enough, 2 to 3 minutes. Something that's quite light, or not quite light, but again, single joint movements. You can get away with 2 minutes, something that's quite heavy, or taxing, such as squats, or incline press. I'd say you probably need about three-ish minutes to get a full recovery in, maybe 4. Alright, solid. Another thing with rest time, if you're doing unilateral movements, so one movement at a time, don't rush into the next arm. Give a few seconds, 20, maybe 30 seconds in between, get your fatigue back down, and go for it again. Nice. Yep, that's done. We're gonna move on to a bit of chest and back. This gym doesn't have my machine for lat pull downs, but we're gonna make do and see what we can put together. The thing is, if you understand the movement, you can kind of jerry rig any machine to recreate your favorite movement. And if that doesn't work, you can use onto cables. Now, this isn't the best setup, but you can kind of shift things around. So if I'm working my lats, again, I want to keep my elbows close to my side. And to kind of get a bit more engagement, I'm turning into that working arm. So from here, turn into that working arm, because that lat stretches around that torso. All right, and then the same movement, I'm driving that elbow down. Yeah, drag the elbow forward. And again, same thing, we're not trying to bring that shoulder behind my torso. Otherwise, we'll be getting a bit more traps and mid-back involved. I'm gonna keep this isolated in my lats. You can break down the back into 2 movements if you're getting confused. So when we train upper to mid-back, we wanna make sure those elbows stay out. The higher we get, the more traps we get. And then the more the elbows are tucked in by our sides, we're training our lats. That movement ends as well is important. So when I'm training lats, I wanna make sure I'm ending towards my waist. I'm not going past my torso. And then when I'm training upper back, I'm trying to bring those elbows far back as possible, trying to get my shoulder blades to touch. And that's the difference between training back, really. That machine didn't work out. So we're gonna use a simple single arm lat pull down. Now, I'm not a fan of this too much, just because I find that the movement's a bit too close for me. But yeah, same movement. I'm gonna create Make sure this arm stays in front. We're dragging the elbow forward, pushing the shoulder down, and then we don't go past the torso. So try and crunch it downwards. For same thing, try and turn into that working arm when we're training lats. To keep that lats isolated, you're going to bring it towards your waist. Don't go past that torso. The moment that torso comes up, if you watch my shoulder, see that trap come up? As soon as I bring that elbow past my torso, my shoulder comes up. So you keep it more isolated towards your lats. Keep it down to your side and then go past your torso. And when I'm training mid to upper back, elbow to wide, and then goes behind my torso. Activate those traps. Yeah, don't be afraid to hit 4, 5, 6 reps when you're trying to train for muscle growth. Because like you can create enough stimulus with that amount of reps. It's just how you execute it. Obviously, if you're just blasting through it, yeah, it's not that much stimulus, but if you control it, squeeze the muscle, focus on that stretch, then again, I rarely hit 8 reps, maybe 10 reps in my sets. I keep it within 4 to 8. And when I'm hitting 8, that's the indication for me to up that weight. Yeah, because otherwise, like, you're just creating way too much fatigue to then recover from. So then when you next hit back again in that same week, if you're still feeling sore, then you won't get your numbers. And we know that frequency is the massive driver when it comes to muscle growth. If you demolish a muscle once a week, you have a good 7 days where you're not training. And 7 days of not training, you know, you could be atrophying the muscle or shrinking that muscle. So if you can get enough volume in to allow for recovery within the next 48 hours and then hit again, that's way more effective for muscle growth. Alright, so we are like 4 exercises in. We have an upper back bias row. Yeah, I'm pretty warm at this point, but I can probably just get 1 set in. About 5, maybe 6 reps, because I've done this movement before, so I don't really need too much warm up, and then I'm ready to go. So we're going for upper bias. So I'm gonna go for this narrow grip. I'm gonna have my elbows more flared towards my sides. And again, same thing. Or again, when we are training back, it's all about that arm path. If my elbows are close by my side and I'm pushing towards my waist, I'm training my lats. But I wanna get more upper back, so I'm having my elbows wide and bringing those elbows behind me. Wrist traps, probably the most essential gymnast accessory you need. Again, your grip can only take you so far, but if you really want to elevate your back training or improve on your legs, you want to make sure there's nothing taken away from the actual lift, and your grip is quite weak compared to those muscle groups. And where your grip will normally fail, the straps will take over. Nice. Finish that set with a bit of Kelso shrugs, just to finish off my traps a bit more. Got one more set. We've got about 7 in that one, but I'm gonna keep the weight the same. Go for about 5, maybe 6. Yeah, all movements are the same. So if I wasn't doing this, I would probably be doing chest supported row on a bench with 2 dumbbells, but same movement path. So elbows are going behind my torso and slightly flared out. Getting as much scapular retraction as possible. So you don't need fancy equipment, you don't need plate loaded stuff. As long as you understand the movement pattern or where things are meant to go in terms of the target muscle you're trying to pick, then you can literally train any muscle. So we're gonna go for 5, maybe 6 reps, and then finish up on some shrugs. So we've got incline press, we have 3 plates, and when we do incline press, you just want to make sure elbows are down by our sides. It's like 45 degrees, and we're pushing slightly upwards. Try and keep the shoulders back. So squeeze the shoulders together. Hey. So I've got preacher curl, I've got 2 sets to failure. Yeah, when you perform the preacher, let's make sure your joints are aligned. So elbow is linked or aligned with your wrist. And when you curl, we're not flexing our wrist too much. So from here, we're coming up, keep the wrist straight. And yeah, it's a session today. I'm recording some of my lifts going forward. Just so one, to keep you accountable, but also hopefully you guys can pick up some tips, some tricks. If you guys have any feedback for me as well, I'm always open to learning new things. So drop them down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.